After so much anticipation, this legendary episode finally came out. And this episode turned out to be the most legendary in the entire history of the series, and also the longest. And I couldn't even imagine that Dattebayo could create something like that in such a short period of time. I'm just shocked. And now we have a lot of questions that need to be answered. And in this video, you will find out. What will happen to the agents who are stuck in the elevator? What kind of toilet is this? Why did Titan Speakerman become the strongest Titan? And you will also know all the phrases that TV Man said in this episode, and what will happen next. And a lot of interesting details which you definitely didn't notice, so be sure to watch until the end so as not to miss anything. Also, let's try to get 700,000 subscribers before the release of part 2. Hello friends, you're on the Dattebayo channel. Subscribe to the channel and press the like button under the video to speed up the release of the next video. And let's go. The episode begins with the cameramen sitting in ambush, and here we see the same inscription that we saw on the leaked frame. And it turns out that it says no smoking, and I mentioned this in my video. And the cameraman decided to treat the toilets with a tasty grenade. And then we see the cameraman with a flamethrower who wants to fry a chicken. And an interesting fact is that the fire is blue and not the usual yellow one. And after frying the chicken, we see that this is not a toilet base, but it was an ordinary checkpoint, and I also predicted this in the last video. But when the camera turns, we see something shocking, and it's hard to notice. But in this place, we can see the body of a dead man covered in blood, and if you look closely, he is dressed in a military uniform. And here my theory is also confirmed that it was a laboratory and a secret base of people. But the SKIBIDI toilets captured it and killed most of the people. But why did I say most? I think that there are people on this base, since this body cannot lie here for a long time. And this means that this is a soldier who was able to escape from the toilets perhaps not even long ago. But he was caught and killed, and this is an iron fact, because if body had been lying for a very long time, it would have decomposed. But I'm sure that this soldier has been lying here not very long, and it seems to me that he escaped from the laboratory at the time when a detachment of agents began to make their way into the laboratory, and all the squads of toilets were chasing the agents. And during this soldier escaped. But also write your versions in the comments. Also here we see some kind of funny silver toilet. And also in the center, we see a strange cameraman who is in a double suit, as we can see another gold suit under a black cloak. And we also see that the cameramen are running away from this place in horror, and they are very wounded. And the cameraman with pistols was unlucky and was hit by a shell. And then we see very fast toilets with rockets on cars, and the similar toilet we saw in episode 61, when the speaker woman first appeared. But finally, the most epic part begins, and we immediately can notice that today, we have a POV Gigachad with a huge gun which we saw at the end of episode 69. And here my theory was also confirmed, since I said that this cameraman and several other agents will fly after the Titans. But just look at how powerful this gun is. It's even better than the one that the Speakerman has. And also look at the crazy quality of this laser. It seems to me that Boom found himself an assistant who helps him with the creation of the episode, because I can't believe that in 10 days he was able to make such a crazy episode for 4 minutes. Anyways, Gigachad killed all SKIBIDI toilets that attacked him. And now you can call me crazy, but it seems to me that someone is sitting in this car. It's definitely not Mr. Boom, but maybe it's another soldier, and it looks like the soldiers were running away from the toilets in a car, since toilets definitely don't drive a car, and this soldier tried to escape and was killed. But they also killed that man. But maybe he's alive, but I didn't notice how he moved, and he didn't react at all to the fact that there was a fierce battle going on near him. But I hope we'll soon learn more about this, and probably soon we will see people in the series. Then our Gigachad turned on his jetpack and began to fly closer to this laboratory, and on his way destroy all the toilets one by one. But it turns out that in this place there is a conveyor belt with toilets, and there are probably hundreds of them there. But the cameramen successfully destroy the SKIBIDI helicopter. And then we see the inscription is high voltage, and it's better to fly away from this place so as not to get burned. And the cameraman continues to dodge the shells, and at the same time kill the toilets. But suddenly a shell hit that place, and it stunned our Gigachad. And at this moment, we can notice some kind of sign. But I can't make out what's written there. But if you can write about it in the comments. And the cameraman decided to destroy this large toilet and began to shoot at it with all his power. But nothing worked because this toilet has shields. And we have already seen similar technology before, namely in episode 51. There was an initial prototype of this shield, and I want to say that it protects well from damage, but not against Titans. And it's also important to note that this mutant has powerful lasers similar to those of the Gmail Titan, and also a couple of powerful missiles. And I already thought that he would destroy Cameraman, but we heard an explosion, and this is our favorite Cameraman Titan, who successfully destroyed a couple of toilets, and we see incredibly powerful lasers from Cameraman's guns. And the Cameraman doesn't even care that this toilet is shooting at him. And I want to point out that these are not cool and new guns, But this is precisely the energy that the Titan TV man transferred to him. And this will soon end, and a little later you will see for yourself. And from this toilet, there was only a skull left, just like it was in episode 51. But other toilets also try to attack Cameraman with lasers in the back. But he destroyed them with one precise shot. But another mutant with lasers appeared. And I'm not much shocked by the fact that every toilet now has lasers. Can you imagine how technology has improved during this time? Once upon a time, only Gmail had such powerful lasers. But now every ordinary toilet has them. Of course, the agents also do not stand still, and we saw jetpack flamethrowers and cool guns. But it still seems to me that if we do not take into account the Titans, the Alliance will not be able to win this war. But this toilet was destroyed by the sword of the Titan TV man. And then the Titan speaker arrived, and finally all the Titans were assembled. And TV man said something and began to transfer energy to the speaker man. In fact, I'm not sure about this, but this phrase makes sense, but if you have other versions, then write about it in the comments. And we see that only now he began to transfer energy to the speaker man, and we see that his body can barely withstand it and begins to shake. But we also see that his speakers and guns began to glow brightly, and even red sparks are noticeable, and he can barely restrain himself so as not to immediately go on the attack. And then we see a lot of toilets with barrels of acid, and they were clearly prepared for this battle. But they didn't know that the TV man busted the speaker man, and speaker man began to roar like a lion. And he started shooting lasers like from a machine gun, and I was just shocked how cool and epic it looked. And he immediately flew towards the ram. It seems to me that he became crazy and uncontrollable after this energy. And probably one more time his body will not withstand this. But in any case, it had to be done. And Speakerman, like a flash, flies everywhere and destroys absolutely everyone. And Cameraman also decided to borrow an arm from Toilet and then treated him to acid soup. And at this time, the Speakerman rushed like crazy across the battlefield. And then we see a familiar moment as the Toilets surrounded the Titans and they also surrounded the Speakerman in episode 58. And we can see that these are the same Skibidi toilets with acid that we saw in episode 68. But they were destroyed in 2 seconds after the Speakerman turned on his disco. And God, it looks so cool. I still don't believe what Boom was able to do such a masterpiece so quickly. It still seems to me that he has an assistant. And he previously mentioned that the episodes will now be released faster than before. And it would be very cool if the episodes were released every 5 or 6 days. So hit that like button if you want it to. After destroying the toilets, the Speakerman decided to sit down. And now we see that the color of his speakers and guns is no longer so bright, and this means that he spent all the TV man energy that he received, and this is not infinite power. And then we see Seuss face of the TV man Titan, and he says 10 out of 10, but we hear strange music. And yes, this is Skibidi DJ from episode 6, and clearly no one expected him here. And now he has big cool speakers and also mechanical legs, and he showed his 4 guns like a gangster and wanted to shoot at the Titans. But suddenly another toilet appeared and tore the DJ into pieces, and just look how easily he did it. And in fact, this is Astro Toilet, and as always I was right again, since I said in each of my videos that we will see Astro Toilets in episode 70, and their storyline will begin. And this toilet is very similar to the toilet we saw in episode 60, only this one is 100 times stronger, since it was able to tear apart in 5 seconds the large DJ. We also see that he has lasers and similar mechanical arms like the toilet from episode 60, and we see that he easily deflected Cameraman's shots with his claw and threw them back at him. And this is a damn powerful ability. And he also dodged TV Man's shot, and TV Man said something. And from this phrase, it became clear that TV Man was surprised that this toilet was so strong. And for the first time in the history of the series, we hear toilets talking like people. And I can't tell you how shocked I am by this. And I'm sure that Astro Toilets are not an ordinary race of toilets. And there are even much stronger toilets than this one. And this is already a very serious threat to the Alliance. But I won't spoil much for you because, as always, I'll make a separate video about this and you will be shocked by what I understood, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss this video. And TV Man tried to attack the Astro Toilet with his sword. And here we can see how the eyes of the Astro Toilet turned in that direction, which means that he somehow noticed this blow. Or perhaps he already knew that this would happen, since he was told about it by the UFO toilet who was watching the Titans in episode 68. But what we see next led me to a greater shock. This damn Astro Toilet, without any effort, tore off the sword of the Titan TV Man and threw it at him back, and after that he ran away. And then we see a stuck sword in TV Man's hand, and after he pulled it out we see the same emoticon. And I bet that no one expected such crazy events in this episode. And we can also notice that for some reason, TV Man's emoticon glows green. although in episode 44, it was black. And before I thought that it was controlled by Mr. Boom, but now I think it's because damage that he received. But then our favorite trio of beautiful women arrived, and we see that they also received improvements. The speaker woman got 2 katanas that can easily cut skibidi toilets. The TV woman got a jetpack, which was not there before, and the camera woman got 2 new guns on hands. And in general, I'm very glad that we saw this trio here. And then the Gigachad points in the direction, and the laboratories and agents flew to the place where the skibidi toilets appeared. And it turns out that all this time the squad inside was watching this. And we see how the agents rise to the top, and this may seem strange, but in fact they should rise to the top since the scientist was from above, and the agents chose a safer path and they go up again. But the elevator began to shake and the light began to disappear. And then it disappeared completely. And we see how the cameramen turned on the light on their cameras, and when they turned the cameras on the walls, we see the reflection of another cameraman, and it was in 2 places, first here and then here. And I already saw how arguments began in discords about what this is a bug, or whether Defuk Boom added it. And what I say will sound crazy as always, but personally, I think that this is not a bug. And Mr. Boom specifically left this for us. And in fact, this is a simp cameraman who seemed to have died in part 2 of episode 57. And this cameraman was different because of his tie, but to be honest, it's hard to say what kind of tie he has. And it seems to me that Boom deliberately tried to make it so that we wouldn't notice his tie, and everything wouldn't be so obvious. And I'm 100% sure that this is not a bug due to the fact that Mr. Boom posted the video on the channel 2 hours before the premiere. And this means that if it was a bug, he would have 2 hours left to fix it. And we all know how Mr. Defuk treats little things and details, and he would not have missed such a moment. And I think that this is a simp cameraman, and perhaps it is he who is knocking on the elevator at the end of the video. But overall, it was the most legendary episode. But I think that the last part will be even better. In any case, I know that you still have a lot of questions, and I need to think about everything carefully. And in the next video, I will tell you in detail what will be in the next episode, and I'll also tell you more about Astro Toilets and what awaits us next. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. And you are on the Dattebayo channel, and see you.